Every spring in Ontario and throughout the Great Lakes, a ritual begins that introduces a new generation of smallmouth bass. But long before the first wave of spawners hits the shallows, preparation and development has already begun. It actually happens within a few months after the spawn. The female will begin to develop eggs again. By the time a smallmouth reaches sexual maturity, their lives are designed around reproduction. By mid-fall, smallmouths start a feeding binge that won't stop until the water drops below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Forage changes from crayfish and gobies to anything that'll fit in their mouth. Smelt, cisco, shad, shiners, any bait fish is fair game. From late September to freeze-up, a smallmouth can gain more than 20% of its total weight. This feeding binge can continue while migrating to deep winter holes where they'll lie dormant for the winter months. Energy stored from the fall feeding will last them through the winter. Through the winter, some species maintain their food intake, such as perch, whitefish, and lake trout. But smallmouth eat sparingly through the winter, if at all. But once the water warms, they resume their feeding binge in preparation for the spring spawn. Reversing their fall migration path, they begin to stage in larger schools closer to traditional spawning areas. When the water temperatures reach approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the males will move to the shallows and select a bedding site. They'll return to the same approximate location year after year to spawn. Typically making the bed in gravel or sand, he'll carve the bed with his tail, move rocks with his lips. His scarred lips and worn down tail will recover in the weeks ahead. Once the water conditions and temperatures are suitable and typically triggered by a full moon cycle, the first wave of spawners will start the ritual. Typically, larger fish will spawn first. Finally, the water waltz begins, with the male trying to herd the female into the bed. Several beds might be in close proximity. A female's eggs won't all mature at once. She may serve as several beds. Once she's finished, she'll fall off into deeper water to recover. The female will be carrying between 2 and 20,000 eggs. A fish of about 18 inches long will probably have between 15 and 20,000 eggs. She'll deposit between 30 and 50 eggs at a time in 30-second to 1-minute intervals. The male is often on double duty, fertilizing the eggs and fending off the predators. The high protein of embryonic smallmouth is a target for invasive species or predators waiting in the wings for the first eggs to be dropped. Once the female has dropped all of her eggs, she'll move off to deeper water to recover. When eggs are first deposited, they're a gray-amber translucent color. They turn darker within a week to 10 days as the fry develop. When that occurs, it's only a matter of days before they hatch. This turns the male into a stay-at-home dad, guarding the bed from predation. The next 4 to 6 weeks will be very stressful for the male, particularly with increased populations of round goby and rusty crayfish. He won't eat at all until the fry have hatched, and some even starve during the process. Not only does he have to fight off invasive species, but there's a host of natural predators as well. The best beds are built beside logs or rocks with heavy gravel for the eggs to tuck down into. All of this makes the job of protecting the eggs much easier. It is exhausting to protect a bed with no cornerstone or log to back into. Beds that are built out in the open typically have a much lower fry yield. Males become very aggressive when the fry are ready to hatch. They'll charge at much larger fish or even humans standing in the water. They'll even shoot up at a boat. When the fry hatch, they're colorless and featureless. They'll develop their pigmentation over the next few days. The male will stay with the fry for a few weeks while they grow and finally wander too far off the bed. At that point, his job's done. He'll move away from the fry and start a feeding binge. In spite of changing habitat and the introduction of several invasive species, smallmouths seem to be thriving in this environment. In many areas of the Great Lakes, populations are at historical highs, and growth rates are 30% faster than they were 10 years ago. Let's hope it's a cycle that will continue. Thanks for watching Time on the Water Canada's series on the life cycle of smallmouth bass. If you like these videos, click the like button and we'll do more in the series.